vultures to the dead. They circle around us, and I've been begging for it. I'll just keep dreaming, darling, and hope for the sun to fall. Dark from within us. Say it like you mean it, then let us go. Let us roll, rock like you can see it, or this will be the death of us. Kiss me like you love Cities break it down on a camel's back. They just have to go cause they don't know where. So all you feel the streets is appealing to see. You won't get undercounting cause you're damn near free. You got a new horizon, it's ephemeral style. A melancholy town where we never smile. And all I wanna hear is the message beat. My dreams ain't gonna kiss me cause I don't get sleep, no. Windmill, windmill for the land, forever hanging there. Take it all out on your stride, it is kicking, falling down. Love forever, love is breathing, time forever, you and me. Windmill, windmill for the land, everybody in.
Very disheartened when Michael said no. By 1990, Michael had become enamored with New Jack Swing, a more aggressive and urban sound. By then, New Jack Swing had already taken over radio waves and rocketed up, namely through crossover hits Bobby Brown's My Prerogative and Every Little Step. Janet Jackson's Miss You Much and Love Will Never Do Without You, and Babyface's It's No Crime. In other words, Jackson was pretty late to the game, even pioneered her new funk-driven sound on both Rhythm Nation and her previous album 1986's Control to work on his new record. But they declined out of loyalty to Janet, with whom they were on a roll with at the time. According to his brother Jermaine, Michael then reached out to producers L.A. Reid and Babyface, after Jermaine mentioned how excited he was for them to produce his next album while visiting Michael in the hospital. Jermaine then proclaimed that Michael went behind his back by flying the hot production duo out to Los Angeles to work on his own album instead, causing months of delays while Jermaine waited around to record his own record. This would cause a deep rift between the two brothers, eventually motivating Jermaine to release the diss track Word to the Bad in protest against Michael in 1991. Ultimately, the Reid-Babyface collaboration with Michael was fruitless, and in June 1990, Jackson hired a 23-year-old Teddy Riley. At the time, Riley was part of the R&B soul group Guy, and also working with Heavy D, Big Daddy Kane, and Bobby Brown, with a co-writing credit on My Prerogative. The Jackson camp wanted a producer who had his ear to the street. It wasn't like the new wonder of MTV could be exploited again as with Thriller. What Jackson needed was a hot sound, and a producer who understood what the icon needed to avoid becoming irrelevant in the wake of scores of young, black, and urban artists stepping up to fill Jackson's sequin glove.
And my manager said, well, I don't believe it's Michael Jackson. Put him on the phone. I just want to see if it's his voice. He just wanted to see if it was his voice. And then Michael gets on the phone. Hello? Hello? And then he pulls him like a little kid. He pulls the phone from his mouth. He said, catch him. And he started laughing in the background. Michael's laughing at my manager. He said, can I speak to Teddy? I read so much about him. I studied on him. And I get on the phone with him. And his first thing he said, Teddy, aren't you going to be working on my album, aren't you? I said, I didn't know. I didn't know I was supposed to, I'm just my first time even hearing about it. He said, oh, you guys didn't tell him he's working on the album? Yeah, he's supposed to be coming here. Can you come here this Saturday? But if you can't come this Saturday, can you come next Saturday? I was like, yes, I can come next Saturday, I promise. He said, you promise? You gonna come? I was like, yep, I'm gonna come, I'm gonna make it and give me enough time to prepare and have a bunch of music for you to listen to. He said, oh, great. He said, you gonna be okay? I said, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be great. He said, okay, I look forward to hearing the music, I look forward to seeing you, and I can't wait.
By the time Riley got on board, Jackson had already recorded over 50 songs, and unlike Lauren, Teddy Riley wanted Jackson to sound completely different from his earlier work. Jackson challenged Riley to create new instrumentals without relying on stock synth and drum machine sound. We talked regularly before I produced the album, and he described everything he was looking for sound-wise. He pulled out one of my songs from the Guy album, which I sing, and he said he wanted that sound. He wanted something driving like that. Riley came into the studio with the hook for Remember the Time already in mind, a track that Jackson loved from the outset and worked tirelessly on to perfect. Riley reworked some of Lauren's productions such as She Got It and Serious Effect, and then continued work on Jam and Dangerous. By early 1991, Michael Jackson had finished the track list, which included several songs he recorded with Riley: Remember the Time, Dangerous, and In the Closet. But Jackson was relentless and would continue to produce more tracks or spend endless hours tweaking and revamping others. When the deadline came, he wanted to do more and more songs, Riley told Rolling Stone in 1992.
So think of it as like a TV ad with a catalog component where I can choose on the Roku app and immediately it's going to send me a text that comes
to. And his manager came and said, Teddy, you and Michael, you're not up to your sneaky stuff. Do not write another song. Executives at Sony set a hard deadline for the album, wanting it released before Thanksgiving 1991. Acting for the first time as an executive producer with a revamped team of collaborators, Michael no longer had the structured parameters Quincy Jones implemented in which to create music. For the last 2 months of recording, Jackson and Sweetie rented hotel rooms located 4 minutes from Record One so they could get back to work as soon as possible. Riley said, when the deadline came, Jackson wanted to do more and more songs, and then when Michael saw the commercial for Dangerous, the David Lynch thing, we started working hard to get it finished. Time-strapped and riddled with self-doubt, Michael Jackson brought in his former producer to hear the final record as a quality controller for the project. Quincy Jones complimented Riley on his production, and he said to Jackson it was a masterpiece and that it's ready to come out. The final album, now titled Dangerous, was completed and fully mastered by Halloween, with a worldwide release date of November 26, 1991. At the time of its release, Michael Jackson gave an interview where he said the goal for his album had been to create something with as much of a cultural significance as Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite. In 1,000 years from now, people would still be listening to it, something that would live forever. In this pursuit, the album artwork illustrated those lofty ambitions. Foregoing another relatively simple headshot and title combo, Jackson commissioned surrealist artist Mark Ryden to create a highly detailed portrait of himself filled with symbolism and mystery, taking hundreds of hours to create. Mark Ryden had previously worked on many other projects with the art director for Sony, Nancy Donald. So when the commission was proposed by Jackson, she thought of him right away. Ryden then met with the King of Pop in the recording studio, where he could hear some of his new music and talk about their ideas.